gone through this process with USDA and the jail commission, I think that can be done concurrently. Then we would have to reconcile any questions or any differences that they had and go back for both of their approvals. Both of those facilities, Judge Byrd and Judge Ponce, if you would like to visit those facilities, both have agreed that we could arrange for you to see those facilities. I'm not as familiar with the sheriff now there in Dennett. It was Sheriff Sample was the sheriff when we did the facility, and I do know in visiting with him that they made money with their jail and still have contracts outside for part of those 96 beds. But the sheriff and the new jail administrator have not pushed that as did Sheriff Sample and Deborah, which I can't remember her last name right now. We've done a number of correctional facilities. Primarily, we added 125 beds to the Maverick County under Judge Escobedo. And Sheriff Herrera, we've just completed bringing them up to code as far as jail commission was concerned. They had some questions on that facility, and understand we're doing another inspection in March. The smaller jail creates a unique situation because of the staffing requirements that the jail commission has of the 1 to 48. But the smaller you are, you've got to do your own breakdown, if you would, to as to male and female and how we divide those and how many beds you're going to want, single cells, separation cells, multiple occupancy cells, 48-bed facility. It offers some unique challenges for the sheriff and the jail administrator and for the commission too. They have to fund it. The largest one we've done, correctional facilities in Jack County. We did one of the state jails when the legislature had that all of the projects in the state. We did the one in Jacksboro. It's a 1,018-bed facility, and we've done numerous there in Gonzales, an ISF facility, 70 beds. The cover of our brochure that we put together is the Judge Solomon Cassis Youth Village in Webb County. For that, we won Lower Rio Grande Valley Design Excellence Award. And to that point, we're completing now, or should be complete by the 1st of March, on the alternative education, which will be for 112 students. Our current workload is very low. We have this project that we're finishing on the juvenile facility, and we have an office addition or an annex building for the Dennett County Judge Ponce. Otherwise, we would immediately go to work with you and hopefully come with a design that you're satisfied with and meet your needs. To that point, we would want access to the sheriff, to his staff, and to you as far as the programming and planning of that facility. I want to speak just a couple of moments on the site. We were given some information on the site there at Bond and Wall site's divided with Wall Street. The top triangle is cut off, and from the sheriff's standpoint, or access to that facility, if there's some way we can extend Wall all the way through and give him two ways in and out, so if for whatever reason one of them was blocked, they're not locked down in the facility. Also, there are a number of buildings on the track, and most of those will have to come down to utilize the track for what we see. I understand in Wall Street there's an 8-inch and a 6-inch water line and an 8-inch sewer line, and that is there. On the property, there's, I guess it's CP, has an easement that goes down through the property, and there's also a sanitary sewer manhole on that property. And then there's a little flag out there that speaks to AT&T. And we have not at this point looked into easements and things where they may run and how they may impact that site. Overall, though, it's a beautiful site. I think it would be a very nice site for a county jail. Do you have any questions of us? Again, be happy to arrange, if any of you are interested in going to one of the facilities and looking at it, either Dennis or Gonzalez, we can certainly do that.
I've been to one Sheriff Sockleigh, Gonzalez. I've been in that a lot.
Have been?
I know your work.
All right.
I know your design and stuff, so I've been in that jail several times.
All right, so well, again, thank you very much for your time, and we certainly appreciate the opportunity to work with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's just take a quick recess just to stretch. If you need to go to the bathroom. Ladies, there's an extra one in my office back here. There's one over here. This approved removing Commissioner Carl Hummel as owner representative for Phase 1, removal of the 1924 additions and restoration of the west side of Karnes County Courthouse per M.J. Boyle contract. And the author, Mr. Buckle, please.
Well, you've already heard some people speak to this, and I think that you remember when Carl was appointed, I objected because I think, did think and still think that he has a conflict of interest. I think that was proven when he was very strongly for adding the $27,000 to the contract. And I think the proper thing to do is to remove him from this and put someone here that will have more, instead of being a Benedict Arnold traitor to the county, will take care of the county. Thank you.
Bob, is that the only reason there's no point of law or no wrongdoing on my part of any sort?
Still working on that car.
Well, anybody else like to speak first?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Pete, would you like to say something?
Well, I think your exhibit of your action last Saturday was unbecoming of a commissioner, certainly unprofessional. You were unreasonable. You wouldn't listen to me. You came up to me hollering at me and telling me I wasn't.
Pete, would you like to back up for a minute, if you will, and just explain to the court what took place and what you're talking about? Give them a little background, if you would.
Okay. On Friday, Matt and I went to the site. We talked to Mr. Gene Kaler and asked him if we could look at the building to see how it was tied in. I want to see how it's dialed in. He said it's not dialed in. Oh, it's not? No, it's not. So I said, can we look at it and take pictures of it? Yep, take pictures of it. So he took us in there and we looked at it, and it's completely independent. They must have concrete away, and the steel was standing there, and there was no dials, no nothing going into the brick of the old courthouse. So on Saturday, Matt and I talked about it later in the day, and Matt said, I think we'll go back there and see how those columns are leaning. See if they're leaning one way or another, see if they're putting any pressure one way or another. So I said, okay, we'll go back Saturday morning. So Saturday morning, he called me and says, well, he said, I'm here at the site. And I said, well, I'm putting out a couple square bales of hay. As soon as I finish, I'll be there in 12, 15 minutes. So I was there, and when I got there, I saw him had his instrument set up on the slab, and you were walking around there, and you came up to me and you started hollering at me.
Okay, did y'all have permission either from the contractor or Mr. Busselman or Judge Shaw to be there? Or who did you get permission from?
No, I didn't get any other permission. I took it upon myself to say, let's check it.
So you assume that you had permission on Friday and you were guided by the project superintendent for Boyle, project manager for MJ Boyle. On Friday, you naturally assumed that it would be all right with Mr. Boyle to come back on Saturday without permission and without an escort. Is that what your thinking was?
Well, I suppose that'd be a summary of it.
Okay, now, if you were to invite me to your house for dinner or something on a Friday evening and you took me all through your house,
That's
does
not
that
gonna
mean I
happen.
can come back on Saturday when
That's
you're
not
not
gonna happen,
there?
Carl, so don't.
Carl has to be honest.
Okay, well,
Stop a
that's a
second.
big assumption, but anyway, go on, Mr. Young.
Okay, so Carl walked up to me hollering, telling me I wasn't an engineer, I wasn't an architect, never was gonna be. I said, hold it, Carl, just stop. Let me tell you why we're here. So I tried to tell him we wanted to check the columns. And I said somewhere between 6 and 10 words, and he's hollering at me again. So I stopped him, I just stopped him. So he stopped hollering, I started talking again, and he did the same thing, started hollering at me. I motioned to Matt, come on, let's get out of here.
Okay, was the sheriff's department called about this incident?
I didn't call the sheriff's department, I think you did. Did you
Yes,
call the sheriff's
yes, I
department?
did. And so you did leave the site at the direction of the sheriff's deputy and the city
No,
cop, is that correct?
No, the sheriff did not direct me to leave the site. I told Matt to come out, came out, stood there, and I asked Officer Kunchik, I said, would you like to ask us any questions? He says, no, I don't need to. And Matt and I went and sat in my truck. We sat there until Sue drove up. I got out and talked to Sue Carter, and then I got in my truck and left.
Is there a chain link fence around this site with signs posted that say things like authorized personnel only, danger, construction zone, no trespassing allowed? Are there signs of that nature, Mr. Yar, on that fence?
I think they're all.
Okay, and this is a demolition project, is it not, Mr. Yar? And the courthouse being approximately 3 stories with an attic and a roof, so maybe 4 stories. Are there falling pieces of concrete and brick on that site, Mr. Yar?
Sure they're all.
Okay, now was it already under demolition from top to bottom? So if you were to look up, you could see little pieces of concrete hung on the rebar and stuff like that. Would you say that it is a hazard to be on that site and also and a liability, as Judge Shaw and County Attorney Busselman had directed this court not to let anyone on that site except for the contractor and his employees? Do you remember any discussion about that, Commissioner Yar?
Yes, I remember that.
Okay, so why did you think that it would be okay to take Mr. Dockery over there, knowing it's a liability, knowing it's dangerous, insurance is not gonna cover him, clearly. Why did you think that was okay?
I didn't think about that.
you didn't think it was a dangerous situation. It's not like walking into this building or the annex. There are things falling over there. You put him in harm's way, you put the county at risk. And you're a contractor as well as he is, and I don't think I could come onto your job and open up a fence and go in there with all these signs posted and think it's okay.
Mr. Dockery had a hard hat on that morning, and you were inside there and you didn't.
Oh,
But-
well, you know, when I drove up there, Mr. Yower, I didn't think that I was gonna find Mr. Dockery up there. And the reason I called the law is because I asked him if he had permission, and he said no. And then he said, well, Pete Yower said I could. So I was asking the judge in a conversation, well, if the rules have changed and now we can let any citizen of the county inside that fence with or without a hard hat and with or without permission, then if that's what this court wants to do, to put the county at risk for lawsuits, then so be it. But the rules were, nobody was supposed to be in there. So I was doing my job, was I not, Mr. Yower?
I talked to Mr. Boyle.
on the deal?
Yes, there was brick masons there, and there are stuff, if y'all go there, I mean, it's a demolition site. There are things falling. It's very dangerous.
Is Carl in charge of keeping people off of it? Is that his job?
Hold on, Scott. But Mr. Boyle called me a couple of times. You called me, then Mr. Boyle called me. Mr. Boyle's concern was not so much the same as yours when he called me.
Oh, did Mr. Boyle give him permission, Judge Shaw?
They said they did on Friday.
Okay, but they did not on Saturday, is that correct, Judge Shaw?
I don't know, I wasn't there. But he said he did give him permission and he understood how Pete could be confused. He says, yes, we did give him permission, and he did understand that.
I understand how Pete could be confused.
And then, but then, in the same instance, I mean, I don't know exactly what needs to be done here. I think this whole situation,
Okay, so from now on, can we,
I think
do
this whole
we, as a
situation
court
has
and a
been
county, can
elevated.
we let people
I
on
think,
there?
I think you have chose to elevate this situation to a point where it need not have been.
Well, the
And we
county
called the
attorney is
sheriff's
the one that
department,
put this
We called
on
the
here.
sheriff's department and we called the chief of police on two people that left willingly. Did you leave willingly?
No, Mr. Dockery told me he was not
Mr.
leaving.
Dockery, did you leave willingly? I'm asking you a question, sir. Did you leave willingly?
Yes, ma'am, there was no incident.
Were you arrested, sir?
No, ma'am.
Were you asked, did I ask you to leave?
No, you did not.
That's what I.
He waited for the law to get there. He never asked me to leave.
But you did leave, Mr. Dockery.
Yes, I did.
So we have torn our community apart.
Yes, and he told me that he had insurance that would cover him if something were to happen to him. Is that acceptable to
Carl
this
got
court?
irate when he found out he didn't have a hard hat on is what the problem was. That's why he got mad at me, because he didn't have a hard hat on. I asked him where his hard hat was, because he's right, it's a demolition job. You're supposed to wear a hard hat. It has a hard hat sign out there. And that's
also
what, it's all
says
escalated over
things
because he didn't
like
have his hard hat on.
Authorized personnel only. No
We had permission,
trespassing.
Carl. We had
You know what?
permission.
And it has a fence
Are
around
you
it.
authorized, Carl? I have a question. As the owner representative or the owners, who owns that building? Does Commissioner Court own it or do you own it? And if Pete went on there, James, could you go on there? Would you think you could go
Judge Shaw,
there?
you went on the record as well as the county attorney.
I asked what I asked,
In
but
the
listen,
construction meeting,
listen.
and you said these are the rules. Nobody is to enter that
That's
site.
right, but you know what? When the construction manager tells them that they can go in there, what do you want me to do?
On
Should
Friday.
Should I call the construction
On
manager and say,
Friday,
hey?
Judge, on Friday. Don't
You've
confuse
escalated this. You've
permission on
escalated
Friday
this.
with permission on Saturday. I think you know better than
I
that.
think
We're all adults here.
I think there's a lack of anger management and a lack of emotional control, and I think this situation has been escalated beyond belief. When you call the sheriff's department and
Okay,
the chief of
okay,
police.
let me go to Mr. Dockery's house, go inside his barn, mingling around on a Saturday morning without permission, and let him walk outside and see me there and see if he doesn't get upset.
Carl, have you ever given anybody permission to go over there? Like
No,
perhaps?
no,
Mark
Bob, I
Podolsky?
have not.
What about Mark Podolsky? Does he just go in there on his own?
He went in the hallway and he was escorted by Mr. Gene, whatever his name, the
So
superintendent.
it's okay for Borough Podolsky to go there, but not a commissioner? Is that right?
I was put in charge of that project, was I not?
You were
Mr.
put in
Vice
charge,
Mayor?
Julie.
Stop it, this is not a public hearing.
No, you were not put
And
in
it will
charge
take,
of
this,
it.
this
You-
meeting will take place up here.
Bob, I don't think you're fooling anybody, and Judge, I don't think you are either, and Pete, you aren't either. You are against this courthouse restoration project, and you are, and also you are too. And you have done everything in your power to throw a wrench in it. You put it on 3 night meetings, 3 times. Pete, you put it on once. Barbara, you put
What's
it
wrong
on
with
once. Bob, you put it on once,
What's
to
wrong
cancel
with
the contract for the
But
restoration
that's not what's on
project.
the agenda.
Thank you.
Right,
off
but
the
see, we
agenda.
get back to the
shows your
intent
have a lack
that you're
of anger
against the
management
problem.
and emotional
You're
control.
against the project.
You called
You're going
the
against the
sheriff.
will of the people. The people
No,
have
we're
voted,
not
and you're going against the will of
And
the
you know what,
people.
once the people
Yeah,
voted.
he needs to
we-
be removed from this
Mr. Busselman, hold
courthouse.
on. We voted,
Go ahead.
we voted as a court, we allowed to have a bond election. The citizens voted, we sent MJ Boyle the letter, did we not? Did that not happen?
Judge, were you
Did
not
that not
against this
happen?
project from the very
Carl, I
beginning?
don't have to tell you how I vote. You're wrong.
I don't
okay?
think you're
out of
fooling
line.
anybody.
He
You're
needs
out
to be
of line.
removed, Your Honor.
You're just out of line.
Yes.
But this lack of,
Needs
this
to be
lack of,
removed.
sir, you're out of line.
Okay.
This lack
Bob,
of
you're
anger
out of line.
this lack of anger management and this lack of emotional control, we are gonna be the only sheriff's department in the history of man that when you call 911, they say, can you hold please
We
route
are
and
the
separate
laughing
elected
stock of the
officials?
county. You just heard Ms. Hunt say that we lost 4 points because we have no leadership.
And you know what? Where was that
And
leadership when
you
that
are the
building wasn't
presiding
ready?
officer of this
I'm
court,
fine by
Judge.
that. Where was that leadership when that
And
building
you
wasn't ready when it
remember
was
it,
supposed to be
wrong.
ready?
Judge.
Mr. Hummel, where was it? You're out of line. You have a lack of anger management
Okay.
and a lack of emotional
Oh,
control.
we're gonna send me to anger management now, Judge?
I mean, what are we
Okay,
gonna
well,
do?
it doesn't matter. Let's
You
just
told
get back
me-
to the
you called me, you
agenda,
said, you
shall
know
we,
what?
Judge?
You said, I don't wanna do this, give it to Tracy, give it to Pete, give it to you, do whatever you want.
You do whatever you think you gotta do. I mean,
But there's no reason for us to be calling the sheriff's department, now, if they left willingly.
if you
all
ask
this thing could
somebody to
happen.
leave and they bow up to you and they say, I'm not leaving now, I'm a citizen of this county. I got a hard hat, I got insurance, I got everything I need. I'm gonna get to the bottom of this, and I got permission from Commissioner Yower. So, I mean, what do you do? I wasn't gonna physically remove him. Well, I just called
What
the
do you
sheriff's
think?
department. And I think y'all need to read that report too, Pete. I think it's real clear that he did not have permission.
I had a copy of the report, I don't know what I did with it, and actually it didn't say much.
You mean you read the sheriff's report?
Yes, I did, Commissioner, I did.
I haven't seen it.
This isn't the agenda.
Yep.
One thing
Yeah, I
I'll
know.
get you, removal of Richard.
All right, it was expressed in this court that they thought we should get a professional to oversee this job, and I think that's still the correct thing to do, I think. I know I nominated Carl to be in charge of it, gave him a chance to be in charge of it. The manner that he, the way he expressed himself last week, I thought it was very unprofessional and just not proper.
Was it not improper for you to go up there without my permission or MJ Boyle's or this court? Was that not improper?
Carl, if you look at the minutes, you were supposed to be the reporter to the court. It doesn't say in here, it does not say in here anything about, it says no contracts, no money spent, just your liaison. That's all it says.
Judge, you're contradicting yourself
No,
because
I'm
who
not.
on the record
I'm
said
not.
that nobody was to have
But what
access
is
to
your
that
job?
site because it was
But
a
then you called
liability
the
to the
sheriff,
county.
and the sheriff
and
did
you
his
did
job
not
by
want the
asking
county
him
to
to
get
leave.
sued.
The sheriff.
And now
did
you
his job
say
by asking him to
anybody,
leave.
any one of these 4 commissioners can tell anybody, oh yeah, go up there on Saturday morning when nobody's there and walk around, oh, but put your hard hat on and call your,
Make a motion.
Yes,
so,
please.
I mean,
I'll make a motion that Carl be removed as manager of the courthouse restoration project and a professional be hired to replace him.
now, would that be Matt Dockery or who would that professional be? Or would it be an independent?
I second the motion.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I have to oppose that one, and I try to always have an explanation on it. I wasn't there that day. I do believe that I haven't put it in everything because I've been just kind of laughing, but I'm sorry about that. But I do believe I wasn't there, and Carl, we've been friends a long time and everything, but I do believe if you disrespected Matt or Pete, that's not professional. Now, that's, I'm being straight up with you, man. Now, on the other hand, on Pete's, I really would have thought that I could have just walked on the job site anytime. I didn't think I needed permission to it. I really honestly didn't think that one of the commissioners would need permission to. Now, I'm not saying that he had the right to tell someone else they could go on the job site, but myself, I didn't think I would need permission to go on that job site because we are commissioners court. Now, anybody else, I would have figured that they may need permission. But maybe somebody as experienced as Matt, I probably would have, if it was a mistake of Pete, I guarantee I probably would have done the same thing because I probably would have told Matt, yeah, come on in, man. I wouldn't even have asked for permission to go on the site because I figured as commissioners court, we would have the right to go on there. But now I know that we don't have the right to go on.
I'm not sure that's correct. I think you do have the right to go on there because this commissioner's court actually is in charge of the whole thing. You're the owner insofar as the contract is concerned.
That's why I don't think I had to ask
That's right. I
anybody to
agree.
go on there, not
I
the
think you're right.
contractors, not nobody. But
think
that's,
you're
I mean,
So all we have to do from now on is just go up there on a Saturday morning and it's be okay?
but see, and the reason,
If the
that I-
contractors are working in there, I guess so. If not, they should have the gate locked. Nobody can get in there.
But
Well, it is locked now, but
what I'm saying here is the reason that I'm voting not to remove you right now is because there's a lot of controversy here, there's a lot of differences of opinions here and everything, and I can't really make my decision to get you out of there right now because I wasn't there, and I'm not saying, you haven't denied that you,
Yeah, but
that you disrespected
Commissioner
them, and I believe
Sherman
them
wasn't
that you
I
probably
wasn't there
did.
either.
But like Mr. Busselman saying that,
But I believe we need to hire a professional.
And I'm
But
not-
I don't say that,
I'm not
you know,
saying
Carl
that-
can be there.
Well,
He's a commissioner just like the rest of us.
you know, when we were talking about the owner's representative for the annex building, this court decided we didn't want to spend that $36,000. We have Commissioner Yower. Commissioner Yower could do it. Well, the same thing. Well, now the rules have changed once again. Just like with the bond money, we had this grant money, $617,000 for
That's not the agenda,
phase
you're out of
one.
line.
Oh,
Please
but
stay with
now
the
we have to
agenda.
go out for bond
Are you gonna
election.
stay with the agenda? Please stay
Right.
with the agenda.
But it's just clear that y'all are trying to
Okay,
do
Pete,
anything
you
you
made a
can
motion,
to
Tracy, you seconded
sabotage
it.
the project.
I'm sorry, Judge.
Very
Go
clear.
ahead.
I'm sorry, Judge, the reason that I went against it like that, I already explained to him, because I like to have an explanation on it and everything. But Carl, I do believe maybe we should have, maybe someone, not that you don't have the experience there, because I know you're serving as what you're supposed to be doing, but we may need somebody like Matt Dockery with a lot of experience doing that and everything. But as of now, Carl, I don't, that's how I'm
Well,
voting
the
against.
reason that I'm being removed is that I removed Mr. Dockery from the site that was endangering his life and his health and putting the county at risk for lawsuits. And, if that's wrong, and that's a good enough reason to remove me from the project, y'all go ahead and remove me. I mean,
I'm not-
Judge Shaw,
And
may I get you
because
to clarify the vote?
our
for
county
me?
attorney,
I'm not voting to.
Pete made a
remove you.
motion,
Yes.
Tracy, you seconded it?
Yes, and I just want the votes now.
It hadn't finished, it kept going on, I'm sorry.
I'm
But,
sorry.
all in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I oppose.
Carl and James opposed. The motion is 3.
You can't vote.
I can't vote.
Yeah, you can. Let me vote. The motion is,
For him. He can't
Bob, what do you know about law?
it's, that's real professional, Carl. That's enough. Stop. You're out of
Well, he's a
line.
videographer.
Well, you're out of line. It's 3-2, Carol. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Number 8 on the agenda is to discuss, approve, disapprove advertising for a request for proposals for a construction consultant liaison for the Karnes County Courthouse Restoration Project, and the author is myself. I just want somebody that's not emotionally tied into this project, that will go in and represent Karnes County the best they can.
Now, would
I
that-
suggest that
would
we
that-
advertise for it.
Would that be like a third party that's independent?
I don't know. I don't know if it'd be a
impartial?
third party.
Or would it be Mr. Dockery here?
I want an impartial party. I want somebody that has no ties. I don't want
So-
to hear for or
So you're not
against.
saying to hire Mr. Dockery?
No, I'm
and give
not.
him-
Carl, I would not vote for Mr. Dockery, and you wouldn't vote for him. there'd be two against.
I want
don't
somebody
think he
that's
should
fair and
represent-
impartial,
It's not even on the
that has no emotional ties to any of this.
That's not on the agenda either, Your Honor.
No, it's
Well, it says a consultant, it's not somebody,
Not named consultant.
well, we didn't name anybody.
Carl did.
Well, we're not,
Is that
I
a
mean,
violation of law, Bob?
Sue even said that, you know, just let those comments go. They're not worthy of a comment. I think that we need somebody that doesn't have this just total emotional upheaval. Our sheriff department is overwhelmed right now. They need to be out protecting our citizens, not separating elected officials. So I think that we need somebody to
Oh,
come
is
work on this
Mr.
courthouse.
Godfrey an elected official?
Come work on this. So that's all I'm asking, is that we be able to advertise for somebody to come in here and represent Karnes County as a business venture, not as an emotional or any other kind of gain.
And would this come out of our grant money, Judge?
I'm asking to advertise for it right now.
Okay, well, is the county gonna pay for this expense?
I
or
guess
is
I
it
have to
gonna
ask
come
for
out
a
of grant
budget
money?
amendment if we do.
So we'd have to amend the budget?
It'd have to come out of $309,000.
Is it in the budget to hire an owner's representative?
We have $309,000 in the current budget to fund the courthouse restoration. It is not
So
specific.
it could come out of there, Luana?
Yes.
So since I'm the one that's asking for it, I'm making a motion that we do it. I just want somebody with no emotional control, where we can work this as a business and where daily operations can run smoothly without all this hassle every day.
I second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Who's going to handle the advertisement?
Can you handle it? Can we ask you to do it? Will you do it for me? So can I amend that the county auditor will advertise?
Maybe she can do
She's smiling, I think I'm gonna take that yes. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? The motion is gonna be 5-0, there's no opposition? Okay, thank you. Number 9 on the agenda is the discussion and possible action regarding the terms, obligation, and rights of the tax abatement agreement between Karnes County and Select Energy Services, and that's myself. Is there somebody from Select here? I heard somebody from Select was gonna be here. Anybody? No takers from Select? Well, no, just look at your package, Tracy. What happened is Miss Frankie brought this to my attention, so Miss Frankie's actually gets the catch for this. But what it was is Mesa Energy, I guess, is a sister company to Select, and they transferred some property, but it's only partial. And Mr. Busselman did not do this with Select. Ross did it when it was done in 2010. It was done August 10th, 2010. You'll see there's a letter in there to Ross. And what that is they let us know what they do, that they did, there's real property and then there's the tangible property, and they did some change. But the changing that they did, they could do, but we do get a rebate back for some of that. And that's what's in here. But there's the letter for you to be able to read. Mrs. Frankie brought this to my attention, and then, oh my gosh, Mrs. Barnhill also brought it to my attention. So I sent something to Ross and had him go before it. And so what he did is he contacted Select, and they worked out an agreement, and you'll see that on page 2 of your email. It's dated January 9th, 2012. No, that's the one that Ross wrote to them. Read that one first. It's dated January 9th, 2012. Ross wrote that to Select. And he wrote it to Faye McCurl, or whatever her name is there. And then they wrote Ross a letter back. And Ross said what they were asking for was nothing beyond what they had already, but that some things would change, and that's broken down in this. It's broken down in the real property tax and the personal property tax on the very last page, and it's the assignment of the tax abatement agreement. And Ross said that the word reasonable was used in the first, I guess the initial. He doesn't see anything that's reasonable that has changed. And so he was in agreement with this assignment of tax abatement agreement. He has read it, and he has advised me, I apologize, that it's okay to sign. so we can get part of a rebate on some of that. But Miss Frankie caught it, so she's not here, but kudos to Miss Frankie, she's our catcher. Well, we need to sign it, but that's, it just,
So is there any idea or indication with that how much property is going to be rebated on as far as with the transfer between ownership?
it's broken down between the real property tax and the personal property tax. Ms. Frankie's gonna have to follow up with that. Because it's the buildings, Luana, that's what
Right.
it is, and so we're gonna have to break it apart and follow up. But we don't have any reason to say that they don't know, that they will no longer get their abatement for that reason. That's what that is.
So the real property is the land and the buildings, and that is subject to the tax abatement, and the equipment, trucks, and that stuff parked out there is taxable?
You know, I have notes written in my office, do you want me to get them?
Well, I just want to understand.
I just didn't bring them out with me. See, and it tells you right there, pursuant to section 10, the assignment, select, hereby assigns the real property improvement portion of assignment, buildings to Mesa Real Estate Partners. Mesa purchased the real property and the buildings from Select on September 9th, 2011, and leases the land and the buildings to Select. I mean, obviously, when they knew what they were doing, I mean, they knew what they were doing when they did it. And they knew that it would be stepping outside of the bounds of their agreement. It would just be a partial rebate. But you're right, it's a lot to hack apart.
So the abatement's in force?
Yes, sir.
We just have to sign this and say it's proper?
Yes, sir.
So we don't need any motion?
No, we need a motion. I do need a motion. I need a discussion and possible action. So I do need a motion. You know, mine says discuss, approve, disapprove. Ross sent me that. Ross sent me this. Discussion and possible action with the way you, I think it's in the letter. That's how I wanted it worded. You'll see it there.
Number 9, you're saying we do need a motion?
Yes, sir.
For you to sign it?
Uh-huh.
I'll make it. I'll second it.
Made by James, seconded by Pete. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposition? Motion carries. Carol, I'm gonna sign this, and I'm gonna run you a copy of this, because you need to get the full original. And I'll have them send the full original back to you. Number 10 on the agenda is discuss, approve, disapprove the distribution of remaining funds, $19,182.02 in the animal control fund to the participating entities. That's Luana. You didn't have to give that.
With the cessation of the animal control agreement between all entities, this is the closing amount that we have remaining in the fund that we need to divide back between the participating entities. Karnes County's general fund will get 50%, $9,591.01. City of Karnes City will get $6,138.25. City of Falls City will get $959.10. And the City of Runge will get $2,493.66. And again, that's based on the percentage of the original participation in the animal control.
So that's just giving the money back to them.
Correct.
I make a motion that we distribute the remaining funds, the animal control fund, to the following entities, with Karnes County getting 50%, Karnes City 32%, Falls City 5%, and Runge 15%. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No
Give a
opposition?
second.
I got Carl as the second, it was the first one.
There was a lot of
Did I
seconds.
beat somebody?
Humble got in on that.
All righty now.
I'm gonna have to hear it loud and proud. if you
All in
want a
favor,
second.
say aye.
Okay.
Aye. There there's no,
Aye.
we already did that.
Yes, ma'am.
No
Good, wave our hands.
opposition. Motion carries.
On 11.
Number 11 is to discuss, approve, disapprove continuation of bonds for elected appointed officials. Please see Exhibit A. I stuck it on there because there was too many of them for me to put on the agenda. Usually we break it down, but this is everybody's.
And if you'll notice, about halfway through, we have already had approval issued by court for Julie Shavelbines and Hilda Castro's. So we'll only be approving the other remaining listed, which is all elected officials. We bond 1 year at a time.
I make a motion to continuation bonds for the elected appointed officials.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposition? Motion. I'm sorry, I'm pointing this way, it's Carl. Number 12 is to discuss, approve, disapprove, authorizing advertisement for time warrants for acquisition of the new ambulance. Amount required is $126,650. The quotation received is through the Houston Galveston Area Council of Governments, HGAC, therefore competitive bidding is not required. That's Luana.
We have in our current budget to purchase a new ambulance, and we also, on the opposite side, put the funding with time warrants. So before we actually order the ambulance, we need to advertise for our funding mechanism, so we'll have the money to pay for it when it arrives.
Is it the same amount? I mean, dumb question, but
There are no dumb questions.
Just the one that doesn't get asked, right?
Sometimes there's a lot of dumb responses.
So we have all that. Man, it's just not be a nice day, is it? Number 12 is, you already have it done the way it needs to be done, everything's there, so the advertising for the funding's there, so you just did the 2 steps in 1 step, or just file them together and we're good by that, right?
It's already
And I make a
in the
motion that
budget.
we approve the authorizing advertisement for time warrants for the acquisition of a new ambulance in the amount required of $126,650,000, received through HGAC.
I second the motion.
All in favor, say aye. What? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No opposition, motion carries 5-0. Number 13, discuss, approve, disapprove, authorizing changes in property valuations submitted by the Texas Association of Counties Risk Management Pool Valuation Comparison Report. Please see Exhibit B. I put that on there, that's our insurance went up. And it went up like 1%, but there's a breakdown. If y'all go through, there's a little Texas Association of Counties thing like this in your package. It gives you building summary reports of what happened and why things went up, the valuations of where they went, and the whole total is, if you look, there's an exhibit that I stuck here because there's no way to put this out to the public without showing them the cover sheet. So I gave them the cover sheet. It's page 5, it's Exhibit B. I'm gonna just show you what our building's doing, that the insurance went up and it went up 1%. Some went down, some went up.
But overall, it's just 1%.
But the court needs to carefully look at that because it's got the valuation of the courthouse, which we have to keep insured. Is that the valuation we want to insure it at? It also has the new building. Is that a correct valuation for the new building? Or do we feel like it should be more or less? We can alter the valuations, but it has to be by action of the court.
Can I ask you, oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I got a stupid question. I know Mr. Busselman has put, I believe, precinct 4 yard on the agenda several times to lease it out. Has the insurance, is still current on that?
All
But if we
property-
were to lease it out, we would omit our insurance, or would we keep?
We would remain covered through our insurance. They may have to give some type of renters or leasers insurance to us, but we would remain with ours.
it's in the paper today or tomorrow.
Did
What
you
about-
did you get that legal description in there, Bob? That a boy.
What about the offices on the square? They went down in value once they got completed. We probably need to. I mean, it's only insured for $4.5 million. It was 4 3/4 prior to being finished.
I can't read the headings at the top because my copy is way small, but does that 4.5 million include all furnishings, or is that just the?
Okay, this right here says new gross insurable value.
Okay, see, the building's at 4 million.
Okay, this is previous building insurable value, this is previous contents and EDP insurable value. And then this is
See, but
previous
you see where it
gross
says
insurable.
notes? Oh, I'm sorry,
So those
Carol,
two
go ahead.
together. And then this is new gross insurable. So it is now,
Include those.
yeah.
Carol, in our notes, look at the bottom on the notes, on offices on the square. It doesn't, Carol, it doesn't say anything. Look, like it doesn't say, you know, contents or
Yeah, it
anything.
doesn't have anything under the notes.
No.
And the reason that this reevaluation came out is because a gentleman